At the Platinum Place here in Accra. I am Nadima, Umar, Uthman. Coming up in the bulletin. Office of the Special Prosecutor refused claims that Ken Ofori-Atta's name has been removed from Interpol's red notice list, insisting that the matter is still under contention. We'll be live with the legal team of the former finance minister shortly. Also, ECOWAS Community Court dismisses former Chief Justice Gertrude Saki-Tokonu's application seeking an interim suspension of her removal process. Also ahead, 3 illegal miners dead after being trapped in an inactive underground section of Heath Goldfields Prestea concession. And in business, Trade Minister urges investors to manufacture in Ghana to gain access to the vast market of 1.3 billion people in Africa through the African Continental Free Trade Area. We have details of these and many more. Stay with us. Many thanks for your company once again. Remember, you can watch this bulletin live on all our social media platforms at GHOne TV. Now, Interpol has removed the red notice earlier issued for former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta after his lawyers challenged the request, arguing that it's violated the organization's own constitutional guidelines. You recall some months back, the Office of the Special Prosecutor had formally submitted an application to Interpol requesting that Ken Ofori-Atta be placed on a red notice list. This request was part of what the OSP described as efforts to ensure international cooperation in locating Mr. Ofori-Atta, who was accused of alleged procurement and financial irregularities during his tenure as finance minister. Mr. Ofori-Atta's legal team petitioned Interpol, insisting that the red notice submitted did not meet the criteria required for such an international alert, especially on the criteria of judicial basis. Meanwhile, the Office of the Special Prosecutor yesterday was formally charged Ken Ofori-Atta and 7 others with 78 counts of corruption and corruption-related offences. We'll engage a member of Mr. Ofori-Atta's legal team now, but we know that the OSP has also responded to this release. I'll bring that to you shortly, but let's now engage Frank Davis, who joins us via Zoom. Frank, many thanks for joining us. The OSP has just responded to the release that came out shortly or a while ago, and it says that they refute that Ken Ofori-Atta's name has been removed from Interpol's red notice list because the matter is still under contention. How do you respond to this?
Good morning. So, team viewers and listeners.
Frank, if you can speak up a bit.
I said good morning to your
good morning
viewers and cherished viewers. And I asked that, is this not sour grapes? Why is the OSP now coming to explain a fair complete? I mean, what was he doing all this while? The chronology of events he has given, he was very much aware that this matter was being contested. So when it got to the stage where Ken Ofori-Atta's name was pulled down, why didn't he mount the cameras mount the cameras and go onto the microphones like he always does, to tell the country what has happened. Now that there is an embarrassment, he comes to explain what circumstances. Whatever it is, and Okoyate's name has been pulled down. We are not an island unto ourselves as a country. We are guided by international rules, regulations, and official mechanisms. So you can't trigger a process and think that it is sacrosanct. When this thing started, I told you people that a lawyer's work is not how to fuse cacophony of noises on radio, television, or presses. A lawyer's work is always in the courtroom or through the mechanisms of work. Okay? The Interpol is guided by its own constitution, bylaws, regulations, and if you trigger anything, they will have to investigate.
But Frank, with the release that circulated earlier, it said that once the OSP's charges were announced, Interpol immediately pulled the red notice posting from their website because the OSP had confirmed Mr. Oforiatta's lawyer's complaints to Interpol. Is that the case? Because the OSP is saying otherwise.
It is not true. It is not true. The pulling down of his name has nothing to do with the charges he has filed. Nothing, absolutely nothing to do with it. And we should stop speculating for and play fidelity to the truth.
But when you say the OSP should...
if that was the case, why didn't you say it before? Why didn't the OSP, who is fond of presence, why didn't he release that before? And now that it is in the public domain, he comes to say what? Ken Okoya's next charge was pulled down long ago.
But Mr. Davis, would it not be fair if we say that the OSP is responding to this because of the release that was circulated earlier?
But I'm asking you a simple question. The chronology of events that the OSP has given in that notice, at least he was aware that this matter was being contested, up to the stage where Ken Okoya's name was pulled down. If we are all truthful to the facts, and we want to speak fidelity to the law, at the time that Ken Okoya's name was pulled down, why didn't he come to tell Daniel? And look, Ken Okoya's name, I issued a red notice alert for his arrest. His name has been pulled down because of A, B, and C. Now he waits for this to come into the public domain. Then he says what? If the Interpol is investigating the matter, it comes as a matter of reason that his name will be pulled down. Come on.
So Frank, as it stands now, can you confirm? So his name has been taken off the list simply because the matter is still under contention. Is that the case?
I said his name has been pulled down, not because he has been charged. The OSP did not meet the legal criterion for a red alert notice to be put on Ken Okoyatta. So his name has been pulled down. It has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with whether he has filed charges or not. It is embarrassment. It is the occasion and embarrassment that has forced him to file this charge. Last week or a week and a half ago, when he came and he said he was going to file charges against Ken Okoyatta, why didn't he tell the whole world, and for that matter, Ghana, that the matter was being contested and maybe one way or the other, his name will be pulled down? His name has been pulled down. As simple as that. It's got nothing to do with filing of charges, anything whatsoever. It is by the rigors of law. His name has been pulled down.
Well, you also said that one of the reasons you have just cited as the contradiction to the legality of this red notice is the fact that the charges had not been filed. Yesterday, the OSP informed us that formally your client has been charged. What next?
I didn't hear what you said.
I was saying that one of the reasons you have cited as the contradiction of to the legality of this red notice was the fact that charges had not been filed in court at the time. Well, yesterday the OSP formally informed us that your client has now been charged. What next?
Well, what next is up to the OSP. It is up to the OSP. You all know, but you don't want to admit the fact that you know that Ken Okoyatta is out of the country because of the medical procedure. He has attended onto his doctors, is recuperating, and any time that he is notified of his charges, we shall consider our options. But Okoyatta is not a fugitive, as the whole world was made to believe. He's fleeing justice, he's a fugitive for justice, I am going to use the force of the state behind you. I'll use the head of this alert. I'll pull you down to Ghana, and what happens?
So essentially, you're saying that
I can't fall back. I can't fall back. Because he's saying.
Frank, are you confirming that your client is still ill and that we should not expect him?
I have said to you, I think I pick my language carefully. I said to you, he has attended onto medical surgery and he is recuperating. Why again did I say that he was ill?
Well, you just said that he's written that he's unwell and that he has to undergo surgery. You just said that a while ago.
Public notice that he was unwell. He has attended onto a medical procedure. He is recuperating. That is what I said.
So essentially he's still unwell.
He is recuperated.
Okay. So has your client been formally informed of these charges by the OSP?
Like I just told you seconds ago, that if he is formally notified, it means that he has not. We all saw it on social media. Colonel Koyata has not been formally notified of any charges that have been prepared against him. I read it on social media the same way as you did, which is the style of the special prosecutor. I would have thought that having filed the charges, he will notify the accused person before running it into town. And that is his style. So we leave him to his style. Opori Aka Nanaya Kuntu Kunuku has not been notified of any formal charges against him.
Oh, interesting. But the OSP says that your client will be tried in absentia regardless.
Well, please, I am not going to involve myself in the season of lawyers who are talking about trial in absentia. I am not interested in it. Charges have been prepared against Ken Oforiatta. The OSP should know how to serve or formally notify Ken Oforiatta of his charges because he is not in the country. When that is done, we shall consider the next option. I am not interested in this trial in absentia business because those who are flagging it don't understand what they're saying. And I will not aid them with any education.
Once you're saying that your client has not been formally noticed, does this mean that his legal team is not going to enter any appearance?
You don't enter appearance in criminal matters, please. Nobody enters appearance in criminal matters.
So,
nobody enters appearance in criminal matters. It's not a civil matter. It's a criminal matter.
Right, but then
accused person will be notified and accused person will be in court.
Well, a lot of people have also speculated about your client's willingness to cooperate with the legal process.
Speculated about what?
I'm sure you've seen, Frank.
You were all here. You were all in this country when Ken Oforiatta requested for a video conferencing interview. Or you were not here. You interviewed me on that, which is legally permissible. The OSP said he was going to have none of that because he wanted a one-on-one engagement with Oforiatta, whether he wanted to dance with him, whether he wanted to eat with him, or whether he wanted to wine with him, nobody knew. He said he willingly insisted on an in-person interview as if the electronic engagement was not permissible. But the law, the Electronic Transmission Act, makes provision for video conference. He said he wouldn't have none of that. The Legal Mutual Assistance Act called for collaboration via electronic conferencing. He said he would not have none of that. And he insisted on an in-person interview. So what is this business? You people always saying that Ken Oforiatta doesn't want to cooperate. I think it's prejudicial, and you people should stop it.
Frank, that is not coming. That comment,
right, should be respected, please.
Well, finally, unfortunately, we would have to.
Or a person of interest or a suspect should be respected. So you people stop this business of mutual cooperation with the OSP. Stop it.
Well, finally, Frank, anti-graft campaigners, one of whom is Edem Senanu, has mentioned that your client, being that he held a position of power, must do, and I quote, the honorable thing. I'm saying that if you would listen to me, kindly indulge me. I'm saying that anti-graft campaigners such as Edem Senanu, who spoke on our network, indicated that your client, who has held a position of power, should do, and I quote, the honorable thing by presenting himself to answer questions. And so that is where the comments that I spoke about earlier about the seeming lack of cooperation, which is not coming from us, but from the public, that is why I asked you about that.
You see, those Senanu and other guys, I don't take delight in responding to them, because when I say something, I don't feel comfortable with what I'll hear myself say. And whatever he has said is his own opinion. I'm not going to engage him on what he said. That is his opinion. He should keep it in his head and keep running with it. But if he understands the rules of engagement and he understands the right of an accused person, sure. He will not talk the way he's talking. But we all are human beings. When you are not confronted with a matter, you can talk the way you like. I'm not wishing anything ill for him. But the right of an accused person is always respected before the law. Okay?
Right.
So he can go ahead. Yes, he can go ahead and spew whatever opinions he has. I will not engage him in a rebuttal.
Frank.
As far as I'm concerned, Colonel Koyata has not been notified. If he's notified, we will engage.
Thank you for your time this morning. Frank David is a member of former finance minister's legal team, Ken Ofori-Attah's legal team. But you out there have also been saying a lot about this development on our social media platforms. Nanama Akwa brings us those.
Well, Nadima, this back and forth is getting more interesting by the day. Now, King Suli says, so no one in this country can kidnap Ken in USA and bring him back to this country. We also have Nassif. If the president refuses to fire the OSP, they will not win in any criminal cases or corruption cases. Edem says, trust the OSP at your own peril. T says this OSP, I think he meant to say, is a dangerous joker. Dominic also adds, this gives credence to the reason, to the whys for Kisi Ejabing to be sacked. Peter says, I now believe the assertion that the OSP is working in the interests of Ken Ofori-Attah. We also have Kwesi. Most people don't know that Ofori-Attah has a dual citizenship, and you think they will leave their citizens to go through this without proper docket on criminal records? Kingsley says the OSP must brief us on this because we need clarity. We also have Wenti, OSP and Kasano. Then we have Evans. Kudos to his lawyers. They did a great job. Make nobody come insult me, or I'm just appreciating the law, not what Ken did to Ghana. We also have Wayne asking, so what are we fighting for now? Now this is where we are. And that is what we have time for your comments. In fact, it's going to get interesting in the coming days. My name is Nanama Akwa. Continue to send us your messages on Instagram, Facebook, and X, formerly Twitter. Nadima, back over to you.
Thank you, Nanama, for those comments. Now, the chairperson of the African Union Advisory Board Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, has stated that he is not surprised by the length of time it took the Office of the Special Prosecutor to file charges against former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Attah. He explained that the complexity of the allegations required extensive analysis, particularly because Mr. Ofori-Attah was unavailable for parts of the investigation. He spoke on News Tonight.
Seeing how lax the claim that the OSP has been, I think that the issues that were brought to your attention were ones that they needed to take their time to investigate. And when I consider that Mr. Ken Ofori-Attah did not make himself available when expected in May, and it is subsequent to that they raided SML and found additional data that needed to be coded and then analyzed. I don't find it strange that it's taking them this time to use that data to then, as it were, add up to the charges so that they are clear that they are covering everything. I don't think there's any laxity. In our terrain, we say prevention is better than prosecution. And we also say that the rights of persons must be respected. If it were you, your mother, your father, or a sibling, you would expect that every care should be taken to make sure that they are not rushing. And so I think that this is the way to go.
Now, the ECOWAS Community Court has dismissed former Chief Justice Gertrude Saki Tokonu's application seeking an interim suspension of her removal process until her substantive case is dealt with, as it was without merit. On Wednesday, November 19, the ECOWAS Court, while dismissing the request, said by her own conduct she failed to demonstrate urgency or claim of imminent and irreparable harm. The court ruled that it was satisfied that the applicant had not demonstrated the existence of imminent or exceptional circumstances that would justify the urgency of the application filed. Now, our legal affairs correspondent, Mutala Inusa, sat through the virtual hearing and joins us via Zoom for more on this. Mutala, many thanks for joining us. What more can you tell us?
Well, Nadima, so context is required. When Chief Justice, then Chief Justice was suspended, she initiated some actions here within the court, including one that is also pending at the Supreme Court. On top of that, in July, she filed this matter at the ECOWAS Court. That case is also pending. On top of that, she's raising issues of urgency and saying that she doesn't know when the ECOWAS Court was going to deal with the matter. But before then, the ECOWAS Court, she's asking the ECOWAS Court to put a restraint by way of an interim measure. And that interim measure is that she should be asked to come back into office to perform a function as a Chief Justice and also be allowed to do whatever she wants to do, the role of Chief Justice allow her to do, and also to that were happening within the commission or the committee sitting, just so that at the time that the ECOWAS Court will be done with her matter is caused to her. The Attorney General looked at the situation and said, look, we have some objection to raise, and the objection we are raising is to the jurisdiction of the ECOWAS Court to hear a matter of this nature, especially so because the Supreme Court of Ghana has a similar case before it. It has not dealt with that. To bring that same application to the ECOWAS Court, in the view of the Attorney General, the ECOWAS Court does not have the jurisdiction to entertain the action. This morning, the court made a ruling in relation to the two issues that, one, Tokonu has raised, and secondly, the objection raised by the Attorney General. First, the court determined that whether it has jurisdiction to entertain the matter the suspended or the former Chief Justice brought. What the ECOWAS Court said was that it has to do with issues of fundamental human rights, and an issue of that one, the court has jurisdiction. Anything that the former Chief Justice has raised issues of prima facie, which the ECOWAS Court has jurisdiction to entertain. So first, the issue of jurisdiction was dismissed. Then the issue of she asking that the court or the government of Ghana be restrained or the processes be restrained for her to have the substantive matter dealt with because of urgency. The court is saying that, look, the hearing of the Article 146 committee started on the 15th of May, and you have filed your processes in July. You, by your own conduct, you have not demonstrated that there's an urgency. The court is saying that, but that alone, the court is not able to accept her request for the Ghana to be restrained or for the processes for her to be allowed to come into office while the processes are pending. Consequently, her request to have the interim request has been dismissed. What it means now is that the ECOWAS Court now will have to investigate into her substantive matter, which is alleging some human rights violation, into how the petitions were dealt with, how the processes went before the committee. What the court has directed is that the Attorney General has 30 days from today, when the ruling was made, to file their statement of defense, and then the case will take its normal course by way of investigating into the matters properly so-called before the court. So, in brief, what is before the ECOWAS Court by way of the interim measures, the AG's objection challenging the jurisdiction has been dismissed, but the former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu's request for interim measures has equally also been dismissed. Now, the way has been paid.
Unfortunately, we lost connection with our legal affairs correspondent, Mutala Inusa, who was just wrapping up on the Tokonu case, but he was also supposed to give us some updates with regard to the SkyTrain trial, where the first prosecution witness was supposed to have faced scrutiny. But we'll bring you that in our subsequent bulletin. But away from that, 3 people have died after a group of illegal miners were trapped in an inactive underground section of Heath Goldfield's Prestea concession. According to preliminary information, the miners entered the old workings through unauthorized routes and were unable to make their way out, leading to the tragic incident in a statement, leading to a tragic statement. Now, in a statement released by Heath Goldfields, it said that it is fully cooperating with the Ghana Police Service, the Minerals Commission and NADMO as investigations and recovery efforts continue. The company has extended condolences to the bereaved families and the entire Prestea community, describing the loss of life as deeply painful. The mining firm also says that it remains committed to strict safety and security protocols across all its operations and is engaging community leaders to support affected families and keep residents informed. Let's get some updates on this very tragic incident. I've been joined by phone by Emmanuel Sasa, who is the Deputy NADMO Director for Prestea Valley Municipality. Many thanks for joining us, Emmanuel. What more can you tell us? We know that 3 people have unfortunately lost their lives.
Yes, please. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yes, thank you very much. Based on the incident and the information being gathered so far, with the support of the mining company, the security agencies, so far, 3 dead bodies have been confirmed based on the investigation ongoing now.
Emmanuel, can you go ahead? You're saying that 3 persons have been confirmed dead. Do we have any others that are still trapped, or that is it?
Yes, based on the situation, the investigation bodies, with the support of the miners, are trying as much as possible to retrieve some bodies that suppose that some people are still under the mines. Because of the incident or the cause that happened, that there's a smoke that happened down where they are working. So they are trying as much as possible to penetrate to the pit where the people have been trapped.
But do we know how many people have been trapped?
That is the information being gathered, unless to confirm, because there is a smoke at where they were. So they are trying as much as best to get to the level to check whether there are some people over there or not. But so far, as what we can confirm with the company, with the other security agencies, 3 bodies have been confirmed dead.
But is NADMO undergoing any recovery operations? That is what I'm asking, because you're saying that you don't know the number of persons who have been trapped, but you're sure that some are still trapped.
Yes, that is the information gathered this morning.
All right.
Yeah, that is the information gathered this morning. So, with the help with other miners, they are trying as much as possible to get to the pit, because the pit is in levels. So, the level that we have been able to identify the 3 bodies is what we are emphasizing now.
Okay. So,
you want to try as much as possible to rate to another level to check whether there are some people or victims there.
Okay. Emmanuel, grateful for your time this afternoon. Emmanuel Sasa is the Deputy NADMO Director for Prestea Valley Municipality, where unfortunately 3 miners have died after they were trapped in a mining pit. But you're still watching Newsroom live on GHOne TV with me, Nadima, Umar, Uthman. Stay with us this morning when we return from this break. You're welcome back to Newsroom Live on GHOne TV with me, Nadima, Umar, Uthman. In some more stories, President John Dramani Mahama has revealed that Cabinet has approved the Public Tribunals Bill, a move aimed at accelerating the prosecution of illegal mining cases across the country. The introduction of the Public Tribunals Bill, as explained by the President, is expected to strengthen the country's resolve to clamp down on galamsey activities and reinforce the government's commitment to safeguarding the environment.
Every day you find anti-galamsey, you find galamsey pits, people being arrested and all that. Another problem we have is, so far, we've arrested more than 1,700 people. The courts to even process these people is a problem. So many of them, we've been forced to grant them bail. And in some cases, when you go back to look for them, they've left the area. And so one of the things Cabinet did the last time was to pass the Public Tribunals Bill, so that we'll push issues to do with illegal mining to the public tribunals, because they would adjudicate faster and let justice be seen to be done. And as the tribunals have it, they have a judge, and then they have 4 other members who either have a legal background or of a certain level of understanding of the law. And so if that comes, we would be able to process, these cases against illegal mining even quicker. There's another aspect to it. One of the main focuses has been to push the illegal miners out of the forest reserves. And so part of the focus has been the forest reserves, and then also mining on the water bodies. And so they are on the water bodies, they are seizing Shamfam machines, they are destroying them. We've said that any Shamfam machine they seize, they should destroy it so that it can be used again.
Well, President John Dramani Mahama has also vowed swift and unforgiving action against any appointee who drags his government into any corruption scandal. He stressed that any deviant appointee in his administration will face the same legal scrutiny and prosecution applied to offenders in the previous government. President John Dramani Mahama made these remarks during a courtesy visit by a 17-member delegation from Christian Council of Ghana at the Jubilee House.
Before I became president, had indicated that we're going to take the fight against corruption to a whole new level. And it's not anything personal against anybody. I have said several times that our problem in the fight against corruption is that it is always post-regime corruption that we fight. And so when a government is in office, when scandals are taking place, they don't deal with them. And so they leave it until a new government comes. And when that government comes and starts investigating the cases of corruption, then the previous government says, oh, you are witch hunting us. This is political persecution. But I've said notice to my ministers, ask them every day in cabinet, I remind them. I say the prosecutions that we're taking against the current government will be ties the first person who brings a scandal to this government. We shall hang them on a cross. And you follow our Lord Jesus Christ, that you cannot resurrect again. And so I keep warning them that Abba Yedebo Techi and Noan Yedebo Boba. But we must deal with the corruption that has taken place. And my belief is that if we want our people to continue to have faith in our democracy, then we must show that the political elite is capable of governing accountably.
Well, President John Dramani Mahama has also declared that the future of the National Cathedral project will hinge on the outcome of a forensic audit. The announcement came during a courtesy call by the Christian Council of Ghana to the Jubilee House on Tuesday, November 18, 2025. The council, led by Vice Chairman Reverend Enoch Thompson, urged the government to reaffirm its dedication to completing the cathedral under a more accountable and inclusive framework. Acknowledging Ghana's current economic challenges, the council emphasized that a well-managed cathedral project could serve as a lasting spiritual and cultural landmark for the nation.
The Christian Council of Ghana continues to affirm its belief in the vision and necessity of a national cathedral as a unifying symbol of faith, gratitude to God, and moral renewal for our nation. While we are aware of the prevailing economic difficulties, we believe that the cathedral's completion under a transparent, accountable, and inclusive framework would serve as a spiritual and cultural landmark for generations to come. We therefore humbly recommend Your Excellency the following three things: that government reaffirms its commitment to the project, to its continuation and completion, ensuring transparency in financial administration. 2, that a broad-based funding structure involving churches, the private sector, international partners be developed to reduce the fiscal pressure on the state. And 3, that the cathedral be positioned as a national interdenominational project that fosters unity among our people.
You're still watching Newsroom live on GHOne TV. Time now to bring you the latest from the world of business.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
The Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, is urging investors to manufacture in Ghana to gain access to the vast market of 1.3 billion people in Africa through the African Continental Free Trade Area. According to her, Ghana has a favorable business climate, hence the need for the private sector to choose manufacturing in Ghana rather than exporting raw materials. She made these remarks during the launch of the Africa Trade Summit 2026 here in Accra.
The number of actuaries who in the market. So, for example, in some of the Western countries, there will be about 50 actuaries working in it.
According to the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, manufacturing in Ghana is a strategic move that would enable businesses to tap into a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion in Africa, leveraging Ghana's peaceful business environment, rule of law, and strategic geographical position, leading to a substantial dividend.
For investors and businesses gathered here today, producing in Ghana gives you access not only to our domestic market, but to a continental market of 1.3 billion people. This is a unique strategic advantage that we intend to strengthen through continuous policy reforms, trade facilitation measures, and close collaboration with the AFTA Secretariat. However, none of this progress can be sustained.
Chairman of the Advisory Board of the African Trade Chamber, Sir Sam Jonah, says anytime Ghana exports raw materials, wealth is exported, and when finished goods are imported, poverty is imported. He called for a paradigm shift to end the vicious cycle.
We have exported cocoa, we have exported gold, we have exported timber, oil and bauxite. Yet the jobs, the technologies, and the real value, those have been created elsewhere. Every time we ship our raw materials and import finished products, we effectively export jobs and import unemployment. And we cannot and must not industrialize if we continue feeding other people's factories.
Meanwhile, the Sierra Leonean High Commissioner to Ghana, His Excellency Mohamed Hassan Kaisamba, called for partnerships to bridge the intra-African trade.
Africa as a continent as a whole do have opportunities, but we need to utilize it. We have to have the synergy to come together and focus on Africa. We don't need outsiders. Industrialization, we need that energy. We need energy to have all these things. Yes, we come out here, speak about those summits, but how can we implement that? Those are the most important things. We have so many. Africa has been having summits and conferences forever, but where are we?
Scheduled from 28th to 30th January 2026, the Africa Trade Summit seeks to unlock trade opportunities for both government and private sector players to spur economic growth on the continent, leveraging its vast natural resources.
The Actuarial Society of Ghana is raising concerns over the country's extremely low number of qualified actuaries. While South Africa has more than 2,000 actuaries, Ghana currently has only about 20 to 30 certified professionals. According to the society, this severe shortage is affecting the quality of data and analysis in key sectors such as finance and life insurance, where actual expertise is critical for risk assessment, pricing and long-term planning. Here's the president of the Actuarial Society of Ghana, Kofi Team, speaking at the society's 2025 conference.
Ghana lacks the number of actuaries who in the market. So, for example, in some of the Western countries, there'll be about 50 actuaries working in a company. But here in Ghana, we struggle to have even one qualified actuary in the various companies. So we need to be able to find a way where we can actually build capacity in terms of people to be able to generate the up-and-coming actuaries to be able to build their capacities for future actuarial work. And secondly, because there's lack of actuaries in the various institutions, what that does is that it helps affect the data quality. Because if you have an actuary in-house, it makes they have a view of the type of data, how the data should be cleaned, how the data should be handled. And so with lack of those resources, it affects other areas of the various companies and industry. So some of the various universities in Ghana, we have about, if I might say, about 200 plus students graduating from the actuarial programs across Tech, University of Ghana, Pentecost, all those University of Cape Coast. So a lot of students go into the university and then do the actuarial program. But when they come out, it's more about mentorship, and then also you would need to be able to take professional exams, and that's where people get dropped off along the way.
That's all we have for you by way of business, but sports is up next with Monica Bukari.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Many thanks for joining me here on Sports Brief. I am Monica Bukari. Now, Ghana's head coach Otto Addo is urging calm and focus as the Black Stars continue preparations for the upcoming World Cup. Speaking after their international friendlies against Japan and South Korea, Coach Otto Addo admitted the team still has significant room for improvement, from pressing and chance creation to tightening their defense. While he praised the impressive level of the Japanese side and acknowledged South Korea's strong performance, he stressed that Ghana has several months ahead of fine-tune their game before the global tournament.
I think Ghana, for the World Cup, there's still some months to go for us to improve. Surely also in all aspects, in pressing, and creating chances, but also not allowing chances. There's still room to improve, I think, for especially for Ghana. When I can't speak too much about South Korea because I think they, like I said, they did well today. But Japan is really at the moment they're on a very high level.
Now, Nigeria Customs team swooped their second win in the tournament after a dominant 3-0 win over Ghana Navy team. This is their second win in the competition with 6 points. Nigeria now sits up the table comfortably after day 4. Nigeria Customs team jubilates after winning 3 games in a row with 9 points atop the league table. Let's now listen to Coach Suleiman Ebe.
We came to Ghana for a marching order from the Comptroller General of Customs that we must come to Ghana to come and see, and of course to come and conquer. So we are here in Ghana to ensure that we win every game that we play. And to the glory of God Almighty, so far so good. It has been 3-3 from the beginning to the end of the group stage. We are going to the semi-final now, and I know by the grace of God it's going to be a success for us.
In the last game of day 3, Army got their first win after 2 games, beating Elwak Wings in a 3 straight sets. Thus becomes their second win in a row against Elwak Wings after defeating them in the Champions of Champions tournament. Army face Prisons next and are in high spirits for their 3rd match. And that's all for sports, but do join me at 1 p.m. here on The Game. My name is Monica Bukhari. Back to you, Nadima, Umar, Uthman.
Thank you, Monica, for bringing us those sports updates. Up next is International. Both chambers of U.S. Congress have agreed to order the U.S. files on late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The House of Representatives overwhelmingly approved the measure in a 421-1 vote. The Senate said it would pass the bill before it officially received it. President Donald Trump must ultimately sign off the measure, which he has said he will do. He recently reversed his position and urged fellow Republicans to vote to disclose the records, following pushback from many of his supporters. Early on Tuesday, survivors of Epstein spoke in support of the measure at the U.S. Capitol. One of them said they had suffered institutional betrayal for years. And that's how we wrap up this edition of Newsroom Live on GHOne TV. I am Nadima Umar Uthman. Log on to starfm.com.gh for more news. Good afternoon.